Good morning, or depending on whenever anyone watches this is in the morning. And I just wanted to check in with my friends or colleagues or anyone who's out there watching this video on the importance of your morning routine. Now, I think with my line of work and how much experience I've had with thousands of individuals that I've worked with and been around in the behavioral health space, you can kind of get a good understanding that a lot of us, we're not all that different. And I think a lot of us have the same struggles within a certain framework of life and challenges and dreams and visions. We all kind of want the same thing and striving to go to the same place. And really, I know a lot of us really want to feel well. And I was talking with a colleague of mine, and I realized that how significant my morning routine was. And I think for anyone out there is, to learn some type of practice. And I think practice is extremely important because practice will keep you consistent. So when you wake up in the morning, a lot of people, if they've been through a lot in life, which I know a lot of people have, you may have, for instance, a dream the night before. And that dream will have residual effects on you when you wake up in the morning, depending on what it is. Some people have night terrors, some people have just wacky, weird dreams. But then when you wake up, you can get hit with ego and resistance and doubt and fear and residuals from this dream that you don't know where it came from unless you kind of start to learn how to unpack a dream. Sometimes they're just wacky. And I realize for myself and the people that I've worked with, when they stay in a practice on a daily basis, when they wake up in the morning, and I think having a journal is extremely, extremely important. And having some type of spirituality is really, really important as well. And I know that everyone out there, for the most part, genuinely understands that. And you either believe everything is a miracle or you believe nothing is a miracle. I think Einstein said that, and I agree. And if you can set up your morning routine to where you can sit in and genuinely ask yourself, what do you need? And yourself will actually tell you what you actually need right now. If you sit there and I have this in my journal that I published, the Epic Journal, and I set up a lot of prompts in that. But one of them is checking in with yourself, saying like, "What do you need?" I ask myself, Preston, what do you need today? And a lot of times, right away, I'll have the answers. Oh, I need to do less of this. I need to stop giving too much energy, right? Or I need to actually maybe focus on this goal a little bit more. We're maybe not as consistent on this goal as we should be, and we know we have loose ends and we need to tighten up some things, whatever it may be. And to really kind of prompt yourself in a way that really brings out intuitively what you and your body, mind, body, spirit actually need. I think that's extremely important to prompt yourself to ask yourself what you need because yourself will tell you. And once you go from that place, you check in with yourself. I really, really believe that some type of mindfulness experience in the morning to pray, to ask for guidance, and thank you for your healthy mind, your body, and spirit that you're still around in this beautiful experience called life. And you're so fortunate to actually experience this life and to pray for signs that you're going down the right path. I think people get really caught up on this whole manifestation and they're just, man, I'm manifesting. I've had a lot of friends that end up doing that. They're like, oh, I'm manifesting, but then it's not coming or whatever. Well, prayer without action, I genuinely believe that you have to pray, but you have to put in the footwork. And I think that's extremely important. And you kind of keep your focus on where you're going. Now, a part of your morning routine, if you can set up and you can get yourself done maybe 3 important things a day, I think that's incredibly important to not try to do all of these things, but to genuinely try to get 3 big things done in a day. And a lot of successful and high performers have even spoken on that, that you guys all probably know of. Steve Jobs was a big one that said that. And really checking in with your mind and your body and your spirit to really make sure that you are making decisions on energy and alignment. And I think that's going to play a big role in anyone's life that's on a path of healing, on a trajectory that's really positive for their life, and you are conscious and aware that you're navigating down this path and you are trying to make sure every decision that you are making aligns with who you are and where you want to go. and setting that up and setting yourself up in the morning for success. You get your journal out, you pray, you meditate for a little bit, and you can really center yourself and maybe go through maybe a dream you had, or you woke up in a really stressful state on fight or flight, which sometimes I definitely do. And sometimes it'll take me 30 minutes to get myself sorted out, maybe sometimes 10, and maybe sometimes an hour. But once I know my cup is full and I brought that energy into myself, then I can go out and show up in such a different way than if I weren't to do my morning practice. And you what it's bigger than anyone may think, actually, because you show up with better energy. I think having positive energy is an extremely important thing to have, because it's people are like moth to a flame, and when they're around somebody positive, and I think that attracts so much goodness and opportunity, and it's so good for you. It's so good for your little ecosystem around your community where you're at. And if you can bring that spirit in, you can bring that energy in, people are going to look at you and they're going to really try to understand, like, man, like, how is, whatever, Joe showing up so positive and calm and consistent, and his energy is just so content. I think that's a thing that inspires a lot of different people. So, if anyone is trying to understand, like, what is not working with myself, my body feels in this fight or flight, I'm feeling off, maybe it's a time in life to do less. I know for me, as I was building business and have multiple things going on and jobs and to-do lists, and I was just doing the most. And I was like, wow, almost nothing was really getting done. Things are getting done, but it was too much and it was not sustainable. And I think to really stop and pause and do less and check in with yourself is extremely important, to make sure that, one, that you are taking care of yourself and your nervous system and your spirit, so you can kind of calm down and really be mindful of these signals and these intuitive whispers, and maybe this God voice, if you believe in that, comes through. And all of a sudden, when you start to do less and you're very strategic and you're operating in a certain way, certain signals, certain opportunities, certain things start to present themselves, because you're so conscious and clear and content that you really start to see the magic of what really starts to happen. And I think you can actually be going along through life so quickly and so rapidly that you may actually end up not even remembering these weeks and months, even a year of your life, because you were so focused on the future. And then when you can really bring it back and be positive and present and really mindful of how you are operating in the world, and to not overextend yourself, I think everything becomes more sustainable. Your practices are better, you're consistent, and you're showing up, and you're very strategic on the path that we all want to go. We all want to go somewhere. And I think it all starts with, back to your journal. I think writing is incredible to do. What do we need? What do we want to go? Where do we want to go? Uh, what do I want to do with my life, if you're even in that point in life? And you can really ask and prompt yourself of all these incredible questions. And right away, after you answer that question, or when you ask that question, put that pen and paper down, because what intuitively comes through right after you prompt yourself is the magic that you want on that paper. It's called stream of consciousness writing. And so if you can even pray before you write and just watch the magic that comes through your pen, and sometimes you don't even know exactly even where this came from. I started Epic Journey on the back of a receipt, and that company has, propelled me off into other ventures and opportunities that were beyond my wildest dreams. But I was so aware and mindful many years ago when I started it, that a really powerful download came through, and that download told me to write this down on at lunch. And I grabbed a waitress's I grabbed her receipt and a pen from her, and I was like, "Hey, excuse me, can I borrow that pen and that receipt?" She's like, "What?" I was like, "Come on, let me see it, let me see it." And so I just started writing this down. This was on Main Street in Huntington Beach at the place called Longboarders. And all of a sudden, I start writing all of this down, this whole vision of helping people and uh, inspiring them through different sports and hobbies and nature. And I would work one on one with people and with their families, and very specific types of adventures we would go on, and all of these different details of who would be a part of it. who would probably be excited in participating in this type of business. And before you know it, I would start writing all these things down on the back of this receipt, which I wish I had that receipt. That all of a sudden I'm like, oh well, crap. What am I supposed to do with all this whole list of things to do? I had a plane in it. People were skydiving. We were camping all over the place, and we were having bonfires and connecting, and very detailed ways of going about what helps people heal in a very specific way, a way that aligns with my way of life. And it was just inspiring people through what has got me well through life, through my dad passing, through my brother passing, and friends and business, failures and business wins, and uh, these incredible friendships and relationships, and all of these different things I've been able to do with my life and people I've been able to meet and help. All of this got just downloaded to the back of this receipt. And I'm looking at this receipt. I'm like, how the heck am I going to do that? Well, many years ago, I just started executing on it. And before you know it, I just started asking this person, I started asking this person, and kind of really passing it around people that could maybe assist in bringing some more clarity into this. And before you know it, it just started to happen. And incredible things started to just blossom from what happened on the back of this receipt. But I was in a space in life where so, I was in such a spiritual and calm and present place in life that I was there and I was aware when an intuitive whisper, this God voice, would actually try to speak to me. A lot of people may have that download or that specific detail that may just absolutely change your life for the better. They just may let it, go right through their mind and they never execute on it. Some people call it the muse, right? They come through and whisper to one person and they, hey, here's this idea, you should do it. But if you don't listen, maybe that whisper goes off and someone else one day ends up doing it. And you hear many stories of people saying, oh, I had that idea. Well, you didn't execute on it. So maybe, this consciousness, whatever it may be, or this muse or whatever, this idea that's supposed to happen in life passed you by because you never executed on it. And as you start to go through this whole new way of life with so much awareness and spirituality and mindfulness, and you start getting better and smarter and more strategic, and you start executing on all of these whispers that start to come through and these ideas, and they all lead you down a path that is so positive, and maybe somebody may be extremely challenging, but they kind of sculpt you into who you're supposed to become and give you character and make this experience just kind of trippy in a way. I mean, because my whole life, so many things have come to me intuitively. And, with so much loss in my life and so many hard times that's I've personally been through, I cannot help but to look at all of this in some type of spiritual, magical way. And I can definitely get out of alignment and start getting caught up into the matrix, as a lot of us call it. But I can always bring myself back because I have certain practices, and I know when Preston's off. I know when I need to let go of something. I know when I need to clear myself, and I need to go up to Joshua Tree, right, and go and hippie out up there and tune in with spirit, or I need to go just even on a simple walk with my dog and to kind of sort through maybe certain challenges or ideas, and I intuitively know what I need for myself. But not a lot of people are at that place in life, and that's a big part of what I do with people. No matter what level individuals are at in life, I've worked with extremely one of a kind high achievers, and to people that are coming off the streets from in prison and everywhere in between. And being very resourceful. It's not just me. I ended up working with people. It's the high performers that are around me that I'm able to bring on to help facilitate, maybe elevating or optimizing this person that Epic Journey is working with, or even at Pacific Shores. I think that you are who you surround yourself with, and that's so true. Birds of a feather. And Epic Journey, just like I said, came from the back of receipt. And I think so many people have that opportunity in life, but they're really just fearful. I see such a low confidence in so many people. Gosh, I mean, it's just because they really never started to execute and try and to build this character and to build this confidence. They're really just doing the minimum. Well, if you do the minimum, that's the results you're going to get. But everyone inside them wants to be something in life. I mean, for the most part, I genuinely believe that a lot of people want more than what they have right now. So this all goes back to this practice, this morning routine. When you wake up with a new day and a fresh mind and a fresh spirit, and you can sort yourself out in the morning through these certain practices, like I said, through meditation and prayer and writing, those are extremely, extremely important things. And what it all starts to change when someone's consciousness and perspective shifts, and all this starts to get magical. And whenever you're off in life, I think you can always, if you through repetition with these practices and through knowing when yourself feels really well, that like even for myself, I feel really well at this moment in time right now because I'm doing all the right things for myself. And just when you're off, you know what you need. And you can always go back in and get that pen and paper out and you can prompt yourself, what do I need to become this next version of myself? So hopefully that was helpful or maybe educational. Anyone out there? And I think you are what you practice, and I think that's a big deal. And we can always reprogram ourselves. So life is truly an epic journey, and you know, get to that mindful place in life to where you were conscious of this experience and you were conscious of how you were showing up in the world. Thanks.